Inequality and gender differences are topic of discussion about every day. Questions get asked about these topics every day as well. No one has exact answers to these type of questions, but there are many controversial conversations that are talked about between society. Women are mistreated and or treated differently all the time, and they don't get enough respect from others. Why are women treated differently in society? Women are mistreated in many aspects in society, one aspect being in topic in sports. There are gender differences within the sports industry. There are a multitude of male sports out there, many of which are the same concept to female sports, such as baseball and softball. There are many differences between male and female sports. Male sports that are also played by females get more publicity than if a woman were playing it. Now, do we really know why? Not exactly. If you think about it, there are major leagues and national leagues for multiple sports like football, baseball, and hockey. Now, these sports aren't played by women, but when a woman joins a college or high school football team and or any male sport team, they break history. In 1982, there was a film that starred Tom Hanks called A League of Their Own, which represented Major League Baseball, but there's a twist to the story. Women are playing the role of men in the league, so instead of all male baseball team, it's all females playing. This movie was a great representation of gender inequality because of how these girls were treated in their world of sports. Nowadays, females don't play baseball at all, but they do play a lot of the same sports as males, soccer being one of them, along with many others. The difference is, the males who play said sport get more attention and media publicity than a female would. World Cup champion and athlete Alex Morgan speaks up about her experience in the professional athlete world. Morgan, along with Sue Bird, Simone Manuel, and Chloe Kim, other professional athletes, have created a network for female athletes to gain more notice and respect for others. This group of females founded Together with an X, which was used to elevate women's voices. This is the first female athlete-founded media company to take place. These women talk about how they don't get noticed as much as males do in the public eye. For example, Morgan talks about how she had no female athletes on her wall when she was younger because she didn't know of any. Another example being that these female sponsorship deals from popular companies as a male athlete would. Millions of dollars get offered to male athletes from these companies, while females aren't getting the deals they should. They aren't getting paid enough for what they are doing in their profession. On that note, female athletes aren't the only ones who aren't getting the same pay as male athletes. Females in the world aren't earning enough as is in their line of work. Alicia Campano is one example of a female who proves this statement. As well as being in a minority group as well, she was forced to leave the labor force due to lack of pay during the pandemic, but just in general. Females already earn less than men as is, but a woman from a minority group are earning less than a white woman. Women are said to be caregivers and houseworkers. So we just get to sit around and do nothing while all the men do all the hard work? That's a little unfair if you think about it. We can do just as much as the average male can do. Even when you don't notice, females are more hardworking than males. They stay at the offices late, or they will pick up more hours and more shifts. But they still get paid the very same, even if their hours increase, as if they weren't working overtime. Studies show that every woman working full-time makes about 82 cents per every dollar earned by a man. That's quite a big difference if you think about it. Basically 20 cents is made. We aren't sure why females make less than men, but it could be related back to my previous comment on how women are caregivers and shouldn't be working. They should work for the house instead. Well, why can't the men do that? After all, women are doing all the hard work around here. We aren't given enough respect for our duties of being women. If you want us to work at home, respect and appreciate duties of being women. If you want us to work at home, respect and appreciate us while we're there. which goes into my next point about discrimination and inequality.
Women have faced discrimination and inequality for decades.
One example of inequality would be what has happened in the NCAA recently. March Madness, the biggest tournament in college basketball for women, was said in a video exposing the NCAA on the discrimination they showed.
Video clips of the weight room difference were released, as well as the practice court, along with tons of extra space for more equipment.
In a clip in the video, the female athlete mentions that the NCAA came out and said it wasn't about money, it was about the space, which then led to the clip of the athlete showing all the extra space there was. The women's weight room is what you would see in a basement of someone's house, while the men's is what you would see at a fitness gym. There were many controversial conversations on the topic. One male reporter stated,
"Sad to see what the women got versus the men."
"It is sad, and this shouldn't be appropriate. When women speak up about their problems, there isn't always a response back of something we don't want to hear. Or there is always one that we don't want to hear. Women aren't even heard in the way they want to be heard. And you might have a different opinion on that statement, but just look at social media nowadays.
There are posts about how females don't get a say in how they treat their body, how the government is making new rules and regulations for women.
This is what I mean by females not getting heard. With these actions, there are millions of women standing around fighting for what is theirs, fighting for their equality in society. They don't want to fight or riot about what is theirs. All they want is to be heard and seen, and for a change in the world and how females are pictured. I mean, for once, step in the shoes of a woman if you aren't already one, and then tell me what's wrong with the world. Females are also seen as thoughts if they dress too pretty or nice, and is seen as lazy if they don't show up in sweats. I know there isn't much conversation on that, but just think, if a woman who was abused tells you that she was abused and has black and blue bruises, most people just think, wow, she's such a slut or such a freak. Freak meaning she let the man do it.
I can't say anything about it, but women in this book can.
Not only do these women tell their stories about their traumatic assaults, they tell you ways to prevent something like this from happening to you or any families out there. However, this book isn't the only form of storytelling from these type of traumatic attacks.
The Netflix original film Athlete A is a documentary about gymnast Maggie Nichols, who was sexually assaulted by Dr. Larry Nassar. Maggie Nichols was the center of attention throughout this movie, talking about her assault at such a young age in the Olympic program in USAG.
Maggie Nichols wasn't the only gymnast who had spoken up about it.
Former Olympians Aly Raisman and Jordan Weber testify against Dr. Nassar about their treatments they have received.
Those are just 3 of many other gymnasts that were treated by Nassar, and about 150 gymnasts were assaulted for years by him. What did the USAG do? Nothing. Many reports were made by parents about what had happened to their daughters, but the board of USAG just came back with there isn't enough evidence to do anything.
Now, with the amount of testimonies against Nassar, he was found guilty and sentenced to 175 years for misconduct.
I'd say that's a win for female athletes.
Women are one unity. They fight together and win together to make their voices be heard and known. There is strength in every woman's body. You just have to unlock it.